Hello everyone. Today I'm going to share with you 5 lessons, 5 points, 5 ideas that have animated or shaped my life over the last 4 decades. I have acquired or developed them by reading books, by reflecting on socio-cultural processes of which I am myself a part, by observing people around me, and by observing my responses to my observations of people around me. Number 1, generally speaking, human beings are right in what they affirm and wrong in what they deny. I highlight the phrase generally speaking because there will be exceptions to any rule we may project about our human ways of thinking and living. It has often happened that I have learned much from two individuals, A and B, from two distinctive worldviews, even though I know that A and B themselves would never shake hands with each other or sit down for a coffee. From such cases, I have realized that by appreciating what people do affirm and by ignoring what they happen to deny, my life has become an ongoing experiment in building up a coherent tapestry of meaning from multiple standpoints. For instance, around 25 years ago, I spent a lot of time examining Christian affirmations of this type. Christianity can give you A, B, and C, which are to be read as negations, covert or overt, of this type. Islam and Hinduism cannot give you A, B, and C. Today, I sometimes receive emails from Hindu organizations with affirmations of this type. Hinduism can give you A, B, and C, which are to be read as negations, covert or overt, of this type. Islam and Christianity cannot give you A, B, and C. By accepting the affirmations and denying the negations, I have become free to study anything and everything I wish to about Hinduism, Islam, and Christianity. Number 2, in one sense, it is quite easy to be open-minded. Just state that you are open-minded and people around you will possibly believe you. After all, nobody declares I'm narrow-minded and I'm proud of it. The real challenge is to cultivate open-mindedness towards people who disagree with your criterion of open-mindedness. Being open-minded is not equivalent to being no-minded, that is, having no criterion whatsoever for what is meaningful, valuable, or plausible. So somewhat paradoxically, and I'm going to say this slowly, precisely to remain open-minded, one has to become self-reflexively aware of the criteria that shape or motivate one's mind. And what do you do when someone else who claims to be open-minded has a different set of criteria for open-mindedness? That is one great challenge of our human living, intellectually, socially, and politically. Number 3, the motivating force for up to 70% of human beings and possibly 80% is love for their children. What gets them up from bed in the morning, what drives them along multiple pathways through a complex world, what sustains them in moments of dark despair, and what brings them home in the evening is not really the new car they're trying to buy, the promotion they're trying to obtain, or the business deal they're trying to negotiate. It is their overriding concern for the well-being of their children who constitute their present as well as their future. People who do not have children have found a substitute or a replacement which becomes the overriding concern that structures how they live their lives. And this is why, if you wish to initiate a friendship with someone, do not forget to ask about their children. The measure of a human being is the love they have for their children, whether biological or allegorical or metaphorical or spiritual or all of them. Number 4, for some reason that I do not know, human beings cannot seemingly endure too much love. They may feel suffocated from and withdraw from the source that seeks to offer them superabundant goodwill. But at the same time, human beings cannot endure unmitigated conflict. Situations of extreme antagonism generate or reinforce a deep yearning for harmony. Thus, the human soul seems to be torn between two great forces. On the one hand, a push towards self-possession and individuation, and on the other hand, a pull towards self-negation and supra-individual peace. Is there a center that will somehow reconcile and synthesize these two forces? That is one fundamental question that runs through at least 3 millennia of intellectual and social history, as human beings, while competing for scarce resources on a fragile planet, have developed multiple visions of human flourishing. Number 5. In an ideal situation, call it paradise, we would maximize well-being to the absolute limit and minimize negativity to the absolute limit. But in this world, which is not yet that ideal situation, we have to grapple with a fundamental question. Which is more important, to increase the reality of happiness or to reduce the possibility of suffering? In certain cases, the two poles are congruent. That is, to increase the reality of happiness is to reduce the possibility of suffering and vice versa. However, in certain other cases, the two poles may not be congruent, and which way we move makes us the distinctive human being we become. So, in many ways, we human beings are very diverse, psychologically, sociologically, and politically. And yet, running throughout human history, and more specifically, the history of Hindus, Muslims, and Christians, I discern two common threads. Number one, the depth of suffering that almost breaks us. And number two, the hope that from within this crucible of suffering, we are somehow becoming pointed towards a landscape of perfection, whether this landscape can be realized right now or in an alternative future.